Hi guys, my name is Hannah Hall. To some of you, I might be a familiar face, but to those who I'm not, I am a sophomore here at Southern Wesleyan. I am a biology pre-med double major, along with a thrower for the track team, a member of the choir, a presidential ambassador, along with a work studies admissions, and an RA. In case you are wondering, I have a lot of free time. When I was asked to speak tonight, I was told that the theme was together. The dictionary defines together as into companionship or close association. But if I asked each one of you what your definition of together was, it would be different. My life leading up to SWU left a distaste in my mouth for this word together. And for you to know as to why would mean you know a little bit more about me. My 8th grade going into freshman year of high school, my parents announced that they would be getting a divorce. Although this seems like a regular occurrence nowadays, it is still life-altering at the time. This was my first taste of the loss of together. About a month later, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. My world seemed to be spinning a million miles a minute, and I was frustrated, confused, but life goes on. Until my sophomore year of high school. This was the year that my mom lost her battle to cancer. Once again, I was met with the loss of together, and this is where my bitterness grew. The word together in my mind seemed something of briefness and only ended in loss. So I decided to distance myself from the word together in order to not feel said loss. Again, life went on. My senior year arose, and my brother had moved to California, and it was just my dad and I. Not only was I a part of the lucky class of 2020 who had their senior year ripped away from COVID, but my dad and I also got into an altercation. A gap was now bridged between the only parent I had left, and I was yet again reminded that together equaled loss. At the young age of 17, I concluded that the word together was not written in the cards for me, but rather the word alone was. I began my college search. I was mainly looking into large D1 schools because this is where I felt success and validation. I came across Southern Wesleyan and I exchanged emails with the coaches and I was talking to them, but they weren't entirely on my radar just due to size and being close to home. But I decided to go on a visit because I was okay with another school and another coach telling me that they wanted me. I got to campus and I strangely felt at home, but I marked it up to being the close proximity to my actual home. I ended up wrapping up my tour in a meeting with the coaches, and I had all of my basic information ready in regards to PRs, meets I had attended, meets I had won, all the stuff that a coach would want to hear when recruiting. Little did I know the coaches here at Southern Wesleyan University are very different. I was in the meeting for about 5 minutes. We talked about track, maybe 5 minutes. And Coach Thiel proceeded to ask me why I was with my grandma and not my parents. This question immediately took me back because I had never had a coach look that deep. Not only did he ask that heavy of a question, but he also asked me what my relationship with God looked like. This was a question I had pushed away due to bitterness because I didn't want to think about my relationship with God. In that moment, I realized they wanted Hannah, and not just Hannah as an athlete. I left the meeting feeling something I hadn't felt in a really, really long time, and that was the feeling of being surrounded. In that moment, I hadn't talked to God in a really long time. That was something my mom and I connected on most, and it was something I'd pushed away because that was an area I felt hurt from. But I decided that in that moment, I would pray to God and ask him what he wanted of me, and if he wanted me at this university, and that if he did want me here, he would have to show me. I'm quite stubborn. But in that moment, strangely enough, I was met with butterflies while walking back. And to those who don't know, butterflies are the symbolism of my mom to me. And it could have been a strange coincidence. We have butterfly bushes everywhere. But in that moment, I truly felt that it was God telling me that this was the place for me. About a month into being on campus, I was feeling the heaviness of the word alone. I was sitting in a track Bible study, and Coach Theo was talking about this thing called a desert place. I ignored it because I didn't want to cry in front of people I had met just a month ago, so I told myself, you're fine. Just as that thought had proceeded, Coach Theo proceeded to say, and the devil will tell you you're fine because he wants to keep you alone. The weight of those words in themselves was enough to break me down to sob in front of people I had met just a month ago. I stayed after that Bible study that day to talk to Coach Thiel and Jamie Wright about the heaviness I had been carrying alone. In that day, I gave my life to God, but I didn't do it alone. What's crazy about Southern Wesleyan is everything just seems to come back in a circle. Something that my Coach Wright and I have had to talk about is you're gonna have rough days. It's not all good after you have your high moment of accepting God. If anything, honestly, sometimes it gets worse. But today being an example of one of these talks I've had with Coach Wright, he said, I had a bad day today, I will not lie to you guys. And something that we've talked about is to just show up sometimes. You don't have to be fully present, but sometimes you just have to be there. And that was one of those days. Today I just showed up to practice. And what was amazing is a year ago I sat in a room giving my life to God, and then I got to experience one of my track teammates come up to me and share that she gave her life to God. And if I hadn't have shown up, I would have never gotten to experience that amazing moment with her. And not to mention, I'm sitting at dinner with Coach Wright, and he tells me that his freshman year, he sat up here and spoke at the same thing that I did. And Coach Thiel and I had talked about giving my testimony last year, and I think the Lord knew that I still had obstacles to overcome before sharing it. What's even crazier is 3 weeks ago, I was baptized in the track steeplechase. At the time of my surrender, the COVID was a thing, it still is, but an even heavier thing, and so they did not allow baptisms, so that's why it was 3 weeks ago that I decided to go through with my baptism. But the two people who baptized me were Jamie Wright and Coach Thiel. The two people who sat with me at my desert time and sought me out at my worst, stood with me at my highest, but it wasn't just them. It was also my extended track family and my friends and my bosses and my professors. We all stood there together. What's been so amazing about this school is that it isn't just the track coaches that want me entirely, it's every person here. From professors who know that sometimes I bomb tests and I turn in assignments late, to my bosses who know that sometimes life gets busy and I can't come in to work, to friends who check up on me because I can't always force a smile, to coaches who love me even though I oversleep morning weights and sometimes I show up to practice hating the world. I struggled with the whole God thing for so long because I couldn't see him, but time and time again, what I could see was loss. But it's impossible not to see God through these people. Every day I experience unconditional love from these people, a love I've never felt before. At the end of the day, Southern Wesleyan is just like any other college, comprised of sidewalks and buildings and trees and grass, but it's the people that make a difference. That God works through these people, and because of these people, I've realized that it was never together that left a distaste in my mouth, but rather the lack thereof. Because of this school and these people and the way God works through these people, I have a new redefined meaning of together, and for that I am forever thankful.